All right, it's our Friday afternoon edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. We've got a few changes, some adjustments to make to our forecast as we head into the weekend. We'll talk about those in just a second. At least the sun's out today. It's cold out. It was real cold this morning. In fact, we broke a record low here in Youngstown this morning. It got down to 7 below. The old record was 4 below, and there were many backyards in that same neighborhood. But it always helps when the sun is shining. And our satellite picture from this afternoon shows a mostly clear sky. Some of the gray shading here is snow cover on the ground being picked up by the satellite. Wanted to focus our attention just briefly out west because this is such a cool looking storm off the coast of California. Look at this thing. This is a visible satellite picture of this storm. It almost looks like a tropical system. It's so wound up, and I joked this morning on the morning edition of this video that it kind of looks like a Cinnabon, cinnamon roll that you get in the mall. But amazing looking storm here. It's going to slam into California and bring them all sorts of rain. Now, they really need the rain in California. They just don't want it all at one time, which unfortunately will be the case here. It's already raining at a good clip in much of California. They desperately need it, but anytime you get too much rain in California, mudslides and flooding, that's a big concern. So that's something they'll have to watch out for out there. Now, this system is going to come all the way across the country, and it will be partly responsible for our snow this weekend. It's going to be in a much weakened state, though. This is really going to get torn apart quite a bit once it heads over land. But despite it weakening, it's still going to be, a big-ticket item for a lot of places in the eastern U.S., including here, although I'm becoming a little more optimistic that the high end of our snowfall range probably is not going to be realized. I'm not saying that's definite yet, but I'm becoming a little more optimistic in that direction. So let's talk about the weekend. Let's switch sources here, and I'm going to show you the GFS model here. We look at several different computer models. As meteorologists, our job is to interpret these models, not take them verbatim, because oftentimes they're going to lead us astray. None of these models are ever going to be perfect, but we use them as tools, as guides, as we try to figure out your weather forecast every day. And I'm going to show you a couple of different models here. There's been a definitive southward trend in the modeling this morning and early this afternoon with regards to the snow this weekend. And what that will mean is that if that southward trend ends up being the right idea, that the heavier snow axis is going to shift south and be more of a problem for perhaps southern Ohio, southern Pennsylvania, as opposed to northern Ohio, northern Pennsylvania. And this is one of the reasons why we oftentimes don't like to put out snowfall forecasts too early. And when you ask us questions on Facebook and Twitter, we appreciate the questions, but sometimes 5 days out, when you ask us, hey, how much are you thinking for this storm? How much are we going to get? A lot of times we're a little vague about it. We want to kind of be a little bit vague because these things can change so many times. Especially when you've got a situation where warmer air might try to get involved, and sleet and freezing rain could be an issue and things like that. I still think that most of the precipitation we see with this is going to be snow, but the types of storms like this, where other precipitation types could try to get involved somewhere along the line, can be very, very difficult to pinpoint. The exact track is essential. Getting that exact track right is what we really have to concentrate on when we talk about snowfall forecasts. Now, Saturday is looking pretty uneventful at this point. It's going to be a milder day. I think we get well into the 30s on Saturday, perhaps even 40. We've been talking about the possibility of just a touch of snow in the morning, and it looks less and less likely like that's even going to happen. This is Saturday afternoon, showing maybe just a little bit of precipitation trying to cruise through during this time step right here. But then after sunset Saturday evening into Saturday night, this is when the atmosphere is going to start to cool from north to south, and snow is going to work back in. Moisture is riding along this front that's going to stall, and where this front stalls will be critical. If it edges far enough south, then the moisture is going to want to follow that front as we head into Sunday, and again, it would be farther south than originally thought. If the front stalls a little farther north, up in here, then the wave of moisture will be concentrated farther north. So all these questions still kind of up in the air, although again, the trend has definitely been south. Here's Sunday morning. Could be snowing at a pretty good clip according to the GFS Sunday morning. And then Sunday afternoon and evening, look what happens. Here's Youngstown right here, and certainly north of Youngstown, it looks like it dries out for at least a while. Late Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening, according to this model. And then as we head into Sunday night, most of the steady precipitation is south of Route 30. Here's Youngstown, and here's Route 30 roughly right in here. Most of it's going to be down towards Zanesville and Cambridge and Wheeling, Pittsburgh, if this model has the right idea. And then we'll roll things forward into Monday. And again, all of the steadiest precipitation stays to our south and east. That's the GFS. Here's the brand new, hot off the presses European model. Now, the color scheme is a little different here. You don't see the blues here, but what we're talking about is snow. Let's back things up here to Saturday morning. Saturday, again, according to the European, not much is going to happen. Then Saturday night, snow does push in from north to south. And then as we get into the late afternoon and evening, again, the steadiest of the snow still likely to be down here, although the European does have decent snow a little farther north than the GFS has. The European, compared to its previous runs, is farther south, but compared to the GFS, it's a little farther to the north. But nonetheless, the European still has the heaviest snow, missing us to the south. Then we go into Sunday night, Monday morning. Again, big storm with lots of rain, ice, and snow down here, but we're going to dry things out quickly on Monday, according to the newest European model. So, what's this mean for our snow totals? Well, here's the European forecast. Based on that more southerly track, the European now gives northern Trumbull County no more than maybe a couple of inches. Around the airport, southeastern Trumbull, maybe 3.5 or 4. Amounts get a little bit higher the farther south you go, and the European gives southern Columbiana County 5 to 6. So if the European were to verify exactly right, our forecast range should be more like 3 to 6 rather than 5 to 10. GFS model has even less because it's even farther south. GFS says, hey, maybe an inch, northern Trumbull, northern Mercer. Maybe 3, 4 down towards the 224 corridor, Boardman, Canfield, Poland, Youngstown. And then maybe we get up to 5 or so down towards East Liverpool and Newcastle. That's according to the GFS. So if the GFS were to have exactly the right idea, our best forecast would be something like maybe 2 to 5 inches, 2 to 6 inches, encompassing the entire viewing area, with the highest amounts south, lowest amounts north. Canadian model looks pretty goofy still to me. Look at the big hole it has down here. That doesn't look quite right to me. It does have us getting up to about 5 or 6 inches in Mahoning and Columbiana County, and 2 to 4 inches up in Trumbull and Mercer. I don't think this is quite the right idea. I think the Canadian's still kind of out to lunch. And then here's the SRF model. And this is a short-range ensemble model. It has like 21 members to it. And you can tell how uncertain our forecast is by how far apart the lines are here. They tweak the initial conditions in the model 21 times and then run it 21 times. And here's each individual solution represented by these lines. The average is the darker line right here, which is only through Monday evening about 2.5, 3 inches. And this is for the airport in Vienna. So at least for southern Trumbull County, the average of all 21 members of this short-range model is only roughly 3 inches. Certainly there'd be some higher amounts south. But look how far apart the lines are. That means the confidence in the forecast is pretty low. So what are we going to do with our forecast? That's the big question. I think you're going to see me on the TV side tonight to break up our forecast area into 2 parts. We're probably going to go with a 3 to 5 inch range in northern Trumbull, northern Mercer, and then we'll probably back it off to 5 to 7 inches for southern Trumbull, southern Mercer, all of Columbia, all of Mahoning, all of Columbiana in that 5 to 7 range. I'm starting to become convinced, based on this trend, that 10 is going to be really hard for anybody to get. Now, even if the models start trending back farther north again, I doubt they're going to trend so far back north that a lot of places get 10. If they trend back north far enough, yeah, some places might get 7, 7.5, 8, but 10 at this point seeming pretty unlikely to me. So 3 to 5, northern Trumbull, northern Mercer, 5 to 7 for the rest of us in the WFMJ viewing area. That's going to be our updated forecast that you're going to see me go out with this afternoon. But again, as I've been telling you, don't think that this is chiseled in stone just yet, because things can continue to change, and we've got plenty of time to keep adjusting the forecast accordingly. So be checking back in on my social media sites, on my weather blog, ericwfmj.com. Of course, check out my forecast on the TV side. And the weekend, this will be kind of a working weekend for all of us. We'll keep things updated, and Mike Joyce will be in with a fresh forecast on the TV side tomorrow evening. I'll keep my social media stuff updated Saturday and into Sunday as well. And Jess Bergani will be in to do WFMJ Weekend Today, Sunday morning. So we've got you covered. Stay with us. we've still got snow coming our way, maybe just not quite as much as we originally thought.